Hey everybody, Tony D and Little Joan here with finally a screenwriter's rant on some damn movies. Some damn movies are finally coming out in the damn, well, not in the theaters. HBO Max just pretty much killed theaters by announcing all the Warner Brothers movies are going to be on HBO Max now. It's pretty much all going streaming. Theaters will become about as um, common as a payphone or you know, what else could you compare it to? I guess drive-in movie theaters will probably make a comeback, but they'll be this quaint thing that doesn't happen very often. So the movie-going experience, which was admittedly going downhill for a long time, is it sounds like it's pretty dead, at least for the time being. This movie is called The Mauritanian. It's a very serious movie with Benedict Cumberbatch, Shailene Woodley, and Jodie Foster. I don't know why Jodie Foster isn't the second name on this, at least. But it's about defending a suspect in Guantanamo Bay. Well, Hollywood, thanks for catching up to the early 2000s. It's so wonderful, brave, and woke of you to do something from 20 years ago. Those guys are still in there. Guantanamo's still open. I guess it's safe to do it now that Obama's not president and he could have shut it down. Anyhow, it goes through the horrific conditions that are in Guantanamo, that they beat people up and torture people, and they keep people without a trial. And Benedict Cumberbatch is a military guy who is torn between his duty and, he took an oath to the Constitution, and these two are lawyers, and Jodie is an old school kind of lawyer who wants to defend the rule of law, and her colleague has got second thoughts because she's getting flack at home. And let's see if I can find the suspect here. It's based on a true story. There he is. So that's your suspect. And, Guantanamo is just a horror show. It's an absolute horror show. And then they go through the files, and they're all redacted, and everything's stacked against them. And I'm sure this ends with a closing crawl of what really happened to all the people, the real people. Again, Hollywood, super late. This would have been edgy 15 years ago. 15 years ago, 2005. Unfortunately, Hollywood didn't have the guts to make a movie like this because Bush was still in office, and they were still licking his taint clean, as Razor Fist might say. They, as much as they hate Trump now, they loved Bush. They loved him. They couldn't get enough of him. And Guantanamo Bay? Nope. No, not a problem. Not a problem for Hollywood at that time. I guess now it's a problem. Now that it's a safe issue to tackle. Now that, you got Trump, and Trump is way too pro Guantanamo. That would be an issue that I disagree with Trump very strongly. But you don't even hear about Guantanamo. There's still guys in it. It's still open, in case you don't know. And it's still a horror show. Still a horror show. Probably even worse now that nobody's paying attention to it. I still can't figure why it's in Cuba at all, quite frankly. That it's in Cuba. Like, how did we get a military base in Cuba? Like, still. Like, I guess the Cubans just couldn't kick us out. And, they do horrible things to this guy, and it's, a drama about all the people involved, and they're fighting the rule of law, and they're so brave. But I would say Hollywood's not brave. No. Hollywood's just exploiting this because it's safe to do so now. They can do this from the great distance of 15 years ago because they don't have to suffer any of the repercussions. Hollywood has a cozy deal with the military-industrial complex. They get to use their toys, but they don't have to They have to abide by certain rules. The Pentagon actually looks over scripts, especially when they use military toys. So, I mean, this movie looks good. Looks like it would be a good drama. Probably just pissed me off because I, I was very much involved in the war movement then, so I kind of know a lot of this stuff. I'm not sure which particular guy this is or if this is one made up for the movie. I'm not sure what the Mauritanian means. Have to do a little more research, but it says based on a true story, so I assume this is one of the real inmates. And yeah, I mean, good for them, I guess. 15 years later, making this movie, but you know, you've got people who are alive; they don't even know what Guantanamo is. Um, and you know, it's just a shame that Hollywood, you know, they can't be honest, because I think they can make this movie now because it's safe to do so, and because, you know, certain people, you know, even if they had made this movie, say, in 2010 when Barack Obama was in, they wouldn't dare make it, because then they would be drawing attention to the fact that he hasn't closed Guantanamo and it's still a horror show. So, you know, some say better late than never, but really, this movie's kind of past its prime. And I wouldn't even trust it to be all that honest, quite frankly. But does it look good? Yeah. I mean, for what it is. I mean, it's definitely a good cast, solid cast. But, you know, it just feels weak to me. It just feels, you know, now we're on to other things. Now we should be looking at, you know, other things in politics that would be amazing to make a movie. I mean, if I was making big time Hollywood movies, I'd be looking to develop a movie about the election now, you know, or, you know, put it out next year. Or even a movie about some of the things Trump did. A movie about the George Floyd riots. A movie about, you know, something a little more contemporary, while the topic was still fresh in people's memories. But Hollywood doesn't do that. They're just in it for the money.